I open up for questions from the audience and our friends joining us this evening virtually. Let me ask you a couple of questions. The first was, I mean, it strikes me that we often talk about America and China as being quite different, but in the context of your lecture, there are some quite striking similarities. If you look at the Gini coefficient of the two countries, it's almost exactly the same. One of them 0.45, one of them 0.46. So they're both very unequal countries. And both of their governments are trying to do something about that. So you have President Biden with Build Back Better, you have President Xi with Common Prosperity. I wonder which of those you think is more likely to be successful. I mean, I suspect I know the answer to that, but I wonder if you might compare the analysis that you have of the United States with China in a little bit more detail, given this superficial similarity of two large, very unequal countries trying, in a sense, to do what you're recommending, to get a better balance between growth and equality.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, James, that the Gini coefficient in China and the United States is the same. I think it's 0.4 something. And so it would appear that superficially you have the same problem of inequality in America and in China. But here I want to go back to the point made by John Rawls. He said at the end of the day, you know, I don't know how many of you are familiar with John Rawls, how he arrived at his theory of justice and how you arrive at the most just society. And he says you want to be born, the most just society is the one you want to be born in if you didn't know whether you're going to be born in the top 10% or bottom 10%, right? Now, if you know you're going to be born in the top 10%, you want to be born in America, for sure, right? They have the best life in the world. But if you're going to be born in the bottom 10%, do you want to be born in America? And here, that's the difference. And John Rawls always emphasizes that the just society is not the one where you have greater inequality, it's the one where the people at the bottom are also rising. So focus on the people at the bottom who are rising. And here, the big difference between China and the US is that for the bottom, actually 50% in the US, the past 30 years have been among the worst 30 years in terms of economic and social progress, certainly since World War II. In the case of China, the past 30 years for the bottom 50% have actually been the best 30 years, probably in 3,000 years of Chinese history. So while the inequality is the same, the bottom 50% on one side is stagnating, the bottom 50% is going up. So, but I believe the United States can do it, by the way. I believe the United States can go back to doing what it used to do brilliantly in the 60s and 70s because it developed the world's most successful middle class by bringing up people from the bottom. Now, in terms of whether Joe Biden is going to succeed or Xi Jinping is going to succeed, in the short run, unfortunately, as you can see, Joe Biden has failed with his latest bill. And the combination of vested interests who don't want some bills to be passed, plus the polarization in the United States today is amazing. The Democrats and Republicans don't agree on anything except one thing. Let's beat up on China. That they agree. Everything else, they don't agree. Now, whereas by contrast, of course, Xi Jinping has got the freedom to do what he wants to do, but he also faces serious challenges, right? Because, you know, China has done very well so far, but you cannot keep on doing what you've been doing in the past. You've got to change, you've got to adapt. And he's trying very hard to change course. In fact, trying to reduce some of the inequality that has arisen in China. And he's also going to face challenges. But between the two of them, I suspect the person more likely to succeed is Xi Jinping rather than Joe Biden, basically because of the reasons I gave.